September 1st, 1939. German troops surge into Poland with a speed that feels unreal, like history has hit fast forward. But here's the twist most people miss. This is not the beginning of the story. This is the last page of a book that started being written the day the First World War ended. Because long before the first shots of the Second War, the world was already setting the stage, quietly, confidently, even proudly, as if peace had been permanently locked in place. And the most dangerous part is this. Millions of people truly believed the nightmare was over. They were wrong. Now rewind with me, not to a battlefield, but to a broken nation in the autumn of 1918, where defeat did something far more powerful than destroy an army. It created a myth, and that myth would become a weapon. November 1918. Germany is collapsing from within. The Kaiser, Wilhelm II, is forced to abdicate. The imperial dream dies in real time. German soldiers are pulling back, exhausted, hungry, marching home not as heroes but as a defeated force. British, French, and American offensives grind forward with brutal certainty.
My fellow German compatriots, both men and women, I address you today. German workers. If this coming Sunday, the German people once again place their profound and unwavering trust in me, their chosen representative, and thereby unequivocally legitimize me anew as the principal spokesman of the entire nation, granting me the undeniable right to confidently declare and emphatically say what I now solemnly declare here in this very moment, Germany itself declares, the entirety of the German people collectively declare, then I will, with great conviction and renewed determination, present this significant new offer once again to them. And then, if the other prominent statesmen once again truly believe they can simply reject it outright or come back with their symbolic boxes and so on, they should at the very least be decent enough to consult their own respective peoples as well and seek their genuine input. I am profoundly convinced that everywhere across the globe, this crucial message will receive only one unequivocal answer. Please, do not talk about mere gestures, and certainly do not talk about symbolic acts, but instead truly make peace. That indeed is the heartfelt wish of all the peoples.
We've become such a decent people again. We've now become such a hard-working and energetic people again. What aren't we accomplishing again in Germany now? What tasks do we not have? For years, we've been told that Germans aren't really equal to the other peoples of the world anyway. What tasks do we have today? What tremendous works are we building? Today we are building the most beautiful roads, massive industrial complexes. We've made new inventions, enormous housing developments. They will come into being and have already come into being. Isn't work being done everywhere, in every field? In these 3 years, we've proven that we are a people who can stand alongside others. And so now I ask you, German people, to give your judgment on this. I do not submit myself to the world. It cannot judge me. I submit myself to you. You judge me. You give a testimony as to whether you believe my work was right. Whether you believe I have been diligent, that I have worked, that I have dedicated myself to you in these years, that I have used my time honorably in the service of my people. Now cast your vote. If yes, then stand up for me, just as I have stood up for you.
At home, civilians face hunger and desperation. Yet even in this moment of undeniable defeat, a strange story begins to spread through German society, whispered in barracks, repeated in beer halls, hinted at in newspapers and speeches. The soldiers, the generals, many of them refused to accept a simple truth. They were beaten. Instead, they reached for something more comforting and more poisonous. They claim the army was never truly defeated in battle. They say it was betrayed, stabbed in the back, by politicians, by cowards, by enemies within. It's a story that lets a wounded nation keep its pride while hunting for someone to blame. And once a society embraces a story like that, reality becomes optional. Then comes the moment the world remembers as peace. 11 o'clock in the morning, November 11th, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The guns finally fall silent. The First World War ends. People celebrate in streets. Leaders speak about a new era. They say the world has learned its lesson. But while crowds cheer, the deeper forces are already moving beneath the surface, and they don't care about celebrations. Because the war ended, yes, but the arguments that fueled it did not. Borders are still contested. Empires are unstable. Old resentments are just waiting for new language. And into that fragile moment walks a man carrying a promise so huge it feels like a miracle. President Woodrow Wilson arrives in Europe. He speaks of a new world order, a system that will prevent future wars. A League of Nations, where disputes will be solved through debate rather than bloodshed. To a traumatized continent, it sounds like salvation. Europe signs on. The treaty talks begin. And then, the Treaty of Versailles arrives like a hammer. The victors mean to ensure Germany can never threaten them again. They reduce Germany's military. They strip territory. They impose strict limits, a small army, no tanks, no air force, no submarines. And then comes the part that burns deeper than any military clause, the reparations. A massive financial burden imposed on a country already desperate. And hanging over everything is the humiliation, the sense that Germany is being publicly branded as the guilty party of the entire world's suffering. This is where the story becomes dangerously complicated. Because Versailles isn't just punishment. It's also a border redraw. The Austro-Hungarian Empire is dismantled. New countries appear on the map like fresh ink. Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Poland reborn, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. To many people, it looks like freedom. But hidden inside this new map is a time bomb. Not everyone is pleased. Several of these new nations contain large German minorities, communities that suddenly find themselves outside the borders of Germany without moving an inch. In the short term, diplomats call this a solution. In the long term, it becomes a future excuse, a future demand, a future crisis. And Germany, once the dominant power in Central Europe, is now reduced, humiliated, and furious. The world tells itself this anger will fade, that democracy will stabilize Germany, that time heals. But time does not heal when people keep reopening the wound. And then Wilson's League, the great promise, suffers its first fatal blow before it even begins. Wilson returns to America expecting support. Instead, the U.S. Congress refuses to join the League of Nations. America pulls back. Isolationism rises. The country does not want to be dragged into Europe again. And suddenly the League, that supposed guardian of peace, is missing the one power that might have given it real weight. It's a warning sign, so bright it should have stopped everything. But it doesn't. Because humans are experts at ignoring warning signs when they're inconvenient. Germany becomes a democracy, the Weimar Republic, but it is a democracy born in defeat and surrounded by enemies. It faces street violence almost immediately, extreme nationalists battling communists, radicals trying to ignite revolution, counter-radicals trying to crush it. The government feels weak, uncertain, constantly under siege. And then comes 1923, the year that burns itself into Germany's memory like a scar. Hyperinflation. Money becomes almost meaningless. Prices soar so fast ordinary people can't keep up. Savings vanish. Lifelong work turns into nothing. A stable life becomes a cruel joke. And this is where history teaches a harsh lesson. When people lose faith in their currency, they begin losing faith in everything else, including democracy itself. In that chaos, a new type of politician thrives. Loud, furious, theatrical, promising certainty in a world that feels insane. In Munich, one such figure begins to draw attention: Adolf Hitler. Born in Austria, a veteran of the First World War, decorated with the Iron Cross, he returns to a Germany that is broken and searching for meaning. He finds a small political group, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, and he reshapes it around himself. His voice becomes his weapon. His speeches are not calm arguments. They are emotional storms. He offers simple answers to complex pain. He identifies enemies. He promises rebirth. And in a wounded society, those promises hit like a drug. In 1923, Hitler and his followers attempt a violent takeover, a coup in Munich. It fails. He is arrested, sentenced. But here's the part that should chill you. Prison does not silence him. It sharpens him. He writes Mein Kampf, laying out his worldview, blaming Germany's problems on Jews, demanding national revival, insisting Germany must expand eastward for living space. The book is not just a rant. It's a blueprint. When he is released, he changes strategy. No more reckless coup. He will use the system against itself. He will climb through democracy to destroy democracy. And for a few years, it seems like he might fail. Because Germany stabilizes. The mid to late 1920s bring relative prosperity. Extremist parties lose support. People breathe again. And if history ended there, Hitler might have become a footnote. But history does not end where people hope it will. October 1929, the U.S. Stock market crashes. The Great Depression spreads across the world like a dark wave. Germany is hit hard. Unemployment rises to terrifying levels. Over 6 million out of work. Desperation returns. Families struggle. Trust collapses. And once again, extremists offer answers that feel decisive. Hitler's movement surges back to life. By the early 1930s, the Nazis are no longer a fringe group. They are a mass force. They have uniformed street fighters, the SA, intimidating opponents, turning politics into a battlefield. Elections come. The Nazis become the largest party in the Reichstag. Parliament becomes paralyzed. Germany's democratic system begins to look like a machine jammed and breaking. And in January 1933, President Hindenburg appoints Hitler as chancellor. It happens through legal steps, paper and procedure, not a dramatic revolution. That's what makes it so dangerous, because it normalizes the takeover. Then, within weeks, the Reichstag building burns. Hitler blames communists and demands emergency powers. With fear surging through the country, he gets what he wants. He uses those powers to crush opposition. Other parties are banned. Trade unions are controlled. The state is reshaped into an instrument of one man. In August 1934, Hindenburg dies. Hitler merges power and declares himself Führer. Germany is now under absolute rule. From the outside, some people still tell themselves it's just internal politics, that Germany is simply restoring order. But behind the scenes, something else is happening. Hitler begins rebuilding the economy, public works, huge projects like the Autobahn, putting people to work, restoring pride. Unemployment drops. Support rises. It looks like a miracle recovery. But it is paired with a quiet, massive secret: rearmament. Germany is rebuilding its military in violation of Versailles.